we all do so many things for other people. And we also all go out there and buy things for ourselves. But by buying the program, becoming part of the group, reading the book, you're doing something for yourself, but you're also helping people around you. And for the price of a pair of nice jeans, you can figure this stuff out. And the bank is never going to tell you how to get out of debt. They're just going to get you to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And that's why you're here in the first place. But being part of the group and hearing that other people are with you, we all have each other's back. I got your back. You got my back. That's the whole thing. We're a tribe together. And this is probably the biggest gift you could give yourself. It might take you a year, might take you 3 years, but to give yourself the gift of being able to sleep at night knowing you're out of debt, that's huge.
It turns out I've still got it.
Ooh, well, I know you still got it. Of course you still got it.
I don't know what I've got.
What happened?
I think I have like sort of like a wedgie right now is what I've got. But what I was alluding to is that I was totally hit on in a Tim Hortons.
This is the most Canadian middle-aged story I've ever heard. I was hit on in a Tim Hortons, eh? I was getting my double and my cruller.
Yeah.
What happened?
I had to take a kid to a sport the other day. And then, as you know, I like to go to coffee shops in the area, wherever I happen to be, whatever rink or gym or whatever. I find a coffee shop and I go sit with my computer for however long my kid is doing the sport and I get some work done and that's it. And so that's what I did. And I was in a new Tim Hortons that I have not been in before.
But you've probably now frequented since. And a lumberjack slid across my table before he got into his Ford F-150 and said, "Hey, pretty lady, what happened?"
Well, okay, so he originally asked me for a cigarette. I didn't have any. I didn't have one. But then, shush. He asked if I was single because I was exactly his type, is what he said.
If only. Now you're carrying around a pack of Rothmans with you everywhere you go. Is that what's happening?
Just in case. I told him, I said, yeah, I am married. I might have even said I'm happily married and I have teenage children. And he just looked, the disappointment in his eyes, Erin.
Was he disappointed? How old was he? And how many teeth did he have?
Okay, so he might have been homeless.
Oh!
Unhomed.
Unhomed, yeah.
Because he had a lot of luggage. Like, I feel like he had a lot of backpacks and stuff. He was carrying like a lot of stuff with him. I mean, he was a very nice gentleman, though. We ended up having like a nice conversation. And he was talking about how it feels like he's tried to strike up a conversation with about 90 women, is what he said. And they're all taken. I said, it may be the 91st will be the one for you.
You just never know.
Anyway, I felt pretty good about myself after my little trip to Tim Hortons that day. But here's the funny thing is that I told my kid about it on the way home from the sports. And my kid says, was he drunk?
We finally did it. I feel like it was almost our toughest negotiation to date, was trying to convince Sylvia, who's in phase 3, to come on the podcast and do a phase 3 celebration podcast episode.
Yeah, I don't know why it was so hard to get her to come back.
You might remember I was a little hard on her the first time.
Oh, maybe that's why she was worried about you and how you were going to behave.
Which is why I think you should take the lead on this one. And I'll just sit back and shut up so that she knows how much we love her. I think, you know what it is, honestly, she is so humble and she's got such a servant heart. Like, she wouldn't do this type of a thing for attention. She's not like that. Like, put me on the podcast. Let me talk about myself. That's not at all who she is. So I think, with people like that who are truly in service to others, we had to convince her like she's doing this for the greater good of other people so they can hear her journey. She's such an inspiration.
And she has awesome things to share. Sylvia, when Erin and I were talking about having people on this podcast, immediately both of us were like, well, we have to have Sylvia back because she did the program. She's a success story. She's graduated. She's in phase 3, and it hasn't been that long, but we're just so curious about where are you now?
You know what? I am in such an amazing place right now. There's this feeling when you wake up in the morning and there's no panic. There's this really, and there's this amazing feeling when I listen to the radio and they talk about interest rates going up and credit card debt. And I'm like, not me. But you know what? I started off with $76,268.07 debt. And that
Wow.
was, I started the program April 11th, 2022. So it
Wow.
was about a year and a half, and I cleared it up. And it's funny because the net worth thing, there were times during the whole process where I know the idea was to get your net worth up, even if it's only $1. And there were some times when it went down and I kind of felt like a failure. And then it's like, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And now I'm watching it and it's going up and up and up, which is weird and great, but weird. And there's this sense of freedom because I don't have to worry about when is that credit card bill due or when is that line of credit due because I don't have any of that. And when I pull up my credit score, which is such a fun thing to do on my Tangerine bank account, and it's got 0, 0, 0 for the balances. And my credit score is a ridiculous number that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's like 867 or something. And it's just like, oh, I don't care. I'm not going to borrow money. So it doesn't matter. But it's just like a psychological thing.
Yeah.
I felt like I spent so much time in debt, so many years in debt, and getting out of debt. It was simple, not easy. It was really hard sometimes.
Mhm.
And watching people in the group who were struggling, it sounds terrible, but it made me feel good because I wasn't alone. At
Yeah.
the same time, hearing from people who were no longer struggling, people who figured it out, people who were in phase 3, I don't think I ever had this must be nice feeling. I think I was, okay, you did it. You did it. And you're just a normal person like me. And that was such a great feeling, which is one of the reasons I love the group. But it's nice now. But looking at my net worth now and seeing it growing every day is really something.
Tell me a little bit about that. So where did you start? What was it at when you started and what are you at now? Like what's your increase?
I'm
Oh,
basically going up about 1,200 a month, if not
wow.
more. I mean, anything I have coming in, I'm just slamming on there. Where I used to slam it on debt, I'm now slamming it on investing. I put a little bit aside for myself.
Mhm.
I had someone clean my house today, which is awesome because I'm not a good housekeeper,
What a good feeling that is, hey?
right? It smells good in here. I'm not going to touch anything. It's nice. It's nice. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But it's funny because I originally thought, okay, I'm going to have to retire at 90. I didn't think I'd ever be able to retire. I'm 60 now. I'll be 61 soon. And I'm realizing now that I don't have to work forever, but I can if I want to. The way the money's growing and the money that I have in there, the way I see it growing with my RSPs and my TFSAs, and just seeing the numbers go up and up and up, there's so much light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, that was a really big thing because I'm self employed and I know that my job, I'm a realtor and I can make as much money as possible. The sky's the limit, but also I can make nothing.
Mhm.
And just knowing that, you know what, if you keep plugging away, just keep plugging away, no matter what, there's that money in the bank, which is increasing. I mean, there's ups and downs because of the interest rates, but I'm noticing I'm checking it every other day, which is just not my net worth necessarily. That gets done every week.
Yeah.
But I'm looking on my app, my Wealth Simple app, and I'm watching this one's green, this one's red, and I'm just watching them go up and down and just understanding more, understanding what a TFSA is and having it invested in something and not just sitting there. There's this huge sense of security and this huge sense of calm, really. And money is flowing my way. It's the weirdest thing, but manifestation works. I
That's
don't
what
know
Erin
why.
says, right? She talks about the fact that
Yes.
once you're open to it, it's
Yeah.
amazing that it comes to you. It's like all of a sudden you are a magnet and the money just comes. You're living proof of that. I think that's very cool. Okay, so let's go back to like before get the hell out of debt. So how did you get yourself into trouble in the first place?
Years and years of stupidity. I didn't understand. I never took the time to understand how money worked. or the banks worked or credit cards worked. I would tell my children when they were little, okay, you buy something for $10, it's $20 when you put it on your credit card. So they've never wanted to have a credit card. I never let that sink in for me. And I believed the bank when they said, you're richer than you think. And I believed the bank when they said, you can do this. And so many times I rolled my debt. Every time my mortgage came up, I would have this much debt. And I would roll it all in to my mortgage because your mortgage is so cheap. And why would you keep it at 19%? And of course, within 2, 3, 4 months, that credit card was racked up because, my car needs brakes. I need new tires. That dress is really pretty, whatever. It was a pattern. There were a few times that I got out of debt all by myself in the middle of the night, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, all ththese pieces of paper on the floor trying to struggle and figure this stuff out. And then it would last about a month, and then everything would get slapped, like everything down to zero, and it would just all get slapped back on credit cards. And now there are no credit. I have one credit card, but it doesn't see the light of day. Doesn't need to at all. I've got cash in my wallet, and that's fine. But it's just built up year after year, so much that my mortgage never went down. 20 years later, it never went down because I kept listening to the bank and consolidating everything. And one of the things that was at first confusing about the program was, Erin saying, just pick one. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a debt and pay it off. Because what I'd always done is I'd get a check, because you can get big checks in real estate, and I would throw a little bit on everything and then kind of go, and then put something back on a credit card. But I listened to what Erin said. She is a goddess. Big props for her. Seriously, amazing. And I just did what she said. I just buckled down and just thought, you know what? She knows what she's doing. What's the worst thing that happens? I get out of debt. Ooh, right? And I listened to what she, and I probably listened to a few of the episodes over and over again. The budget one, I don't know why I had such a difficult time. I still watch the budget one because I'm still kind of not struggling, but I'm not letting it slide, but I'm not as conscious of my budget. My net worth, yes, but my budget, no.
You're talking about the videos in the course. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
You're rewatching?
Over and over again, because I think that the information there is invaluable. And the more times you listen to it, every time you listen to it, you hear something new and something clicks, which is amazing.
It's just interesting that you say that, because I feel like there are a bunch of you that are in phase 3 that do go back and rewatch videos from phase 1, from phase 2, just to give yourselves a little kick in the butt when you feel like you might need a little refresher. It's just interesting to me that even in phase 3, once you've got the money muscles and you are now building wealth, that those people too, right? You need a little kick in the butt once in a while.
I think it's a reminder of the money muscles, because when you get to I'm only 3 months into debt-free-ness, if that's a word, and I'm only just in here, and I've kind of almost forgotten the panic of being in debt. And I've almost forgot the steps I did, and I don't want to forget them because I think that it's too easy to forget them. History will repeat itself. It's done it before. So going back into the videos and rewatching and remembering, even just the lack one, the one on lack and abundance, that's a huge one. That was one of the ones I probably listened to the most. I haven't listened to it lately because I feel very abundant. But it was one of those ones that I had to keep listening to because I didn't feel worthy. And the nice thing too is once you buy the program, you have permanent access. You don't have to remember every single thing you learned in phase 1 and 2, each one. Like, you can go back and re-listen and re-listen. And that's, again, one of the big values of this program.
You're talking about your money blocks then. Did you read Naked Money Meetings also?
Well, I'm a procrastinator, so I haven't finished it.
I have that one too.
Originally, I thought it was the lack mentality, and it was I'm not worthy, and I don't even remember what the other ones was. But then, and it was kind of like those ones, there'd be 12 things, and I'd be like 2 of them, and 3 of them, and then the procrastination, it was like yep, and it was just like, oh my, that was a real big one. So I've actually kind of stopped there, and I keep rereading it every few days because it needs to sink in.
Yeah. I understand that. I get that, especially with the procrastination block.
Right?
The extra kick to
I'll get to it tomorrow.
Okay, so remind me how you found Get the Hell Out of Debt and found Erin.
During COVID, hit the fan with my house just like everybody else's. My mom moved in with me, then my dad died, then I had Bell's palsy and my face fell down and all this stuff. And I was told by my doctor, stay home, don't do anything, don't do business, just do nothing. So I started listening to podcasts, and I think I just Googled, I need help with money or something like that. And Erin's came up, and I was hooked the first episode. I don't even think I listened to the first one right away, but whatever episode I started at, I was hooked because she speaks my language. Because sometimes they're a little too banky, and she's
Heck
not
yeah.
banky, right?
I know, right? That makes a big difference.
It does. I don't want to feel like I'm in the principal's office. I don't want to feel like I'm in the banker's office. I want to talk to my best friend who knows about money and isn't going to judge me. And that's exactly what it was. And I listened to so many episodes repeatedly. Again, I forget, it's got to sink in a few times. I've listened to all of them. I probably listened to about a third of them at least twice. I actually was re-listening again today because, I wanted something good. So I was listening to that again. And through that, I found the book on Audible and loved hearing Erin's voice. If I had to pay for every time I listened to it, I'd be broke. But I just kept listening to it over and over and over again. And then I decided I wanted it on paperback because I'm a spine ripping, page turning. I wanted that and highlighting. And then so I did that. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and take the course. But when I do things, I'm kind of all or nothing. And I decided that even though it's great value, and even though I could have said, I need a hand with this, I decided I had to earn the money separate from what I had in the bank in order to take the course because I wanted skin in the game. I didn't want a gift, and there's nothing wrong with people who need the gift. It's totally cool. I didn't want that. So I sold a bunch of stuff, and I had already been doing that, but I sold more stuff, and I just scrounged and I canceled an account and canceled subscriptions and whatever to pay for the course. And the first couple weeks when you have to get your numbers together, at first it was overwhelming. Because it's like I went through a review of all my bank accounts. I went back a year on every single account. And when you have 900 credit cards, I didn't have 900. I had, I think, 5 credit cards. That's a lot of going over. That's a lot of reviewing. And when I reviewed it all, that's where I realized where so much of the money had gone. Amazon, a lot to Amazon. But doing that, even just the process, it took me a weekend probably to get all that paperwork together. And then seeing the number in front of me almost took the panic away. Not that it was less than I thought, not that it was more, just because, okay, now I have a starting point.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense because like a lot of people, we just put our heads in the sand and just feel like if we don't address it, then we don't have to deal, right?
It will disappear if we don't do anything about it. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like not knowing how much you weigh. If you don't know how much you weigh, or whatever your form of measurement for your body, whether it's size of clothes or whatever, if you don't know where you're starting, you don't know whether you're going up or down. You don't know whether you're going backward or forward. And then you just sit there and eat cookies and, well, it doesn't really matter. But it's getting the numbers, getting something. And it really wasn't, I'm not going to say it was comforting. It was kind of crappy, but it did give me this sense of, okay, we have a starting point. And that was huge.
Look who joined us.
Hi, I'm so sorry to jump in the middle.
That's
I feel
okay.
like I'm interrupting. I just wanted to say hi.
I told
No
Sylvia
worries.
you were having all sorts of computer issues this morning.
Yeah, I've budgeted for a new one. It's just, I just don't want to spend the money on it, but I think
I
it's
hear ya.
time. It's time.
It's
Okay,
time.
keep talking. I just want
Are you gonna pretend you were here the whole time?
Sure. Yeah, we could do that. We could
You
totally
could do that. I don't mind.
Sylvia's being great, of course, already. She
Always.
has
Okay, you guys keep talking. I'll just sit over here.
Okay, let's jump back in. Tell me about some of the challenges you faced then when you were getting started.
Well, I think like everyone, the Q&D was one of those, oh God, how am I going to do it in 12 hours or whatever and then I kind of thought, you know what? You can do this. Like, you can do hard things. We can do we've given birth, for God's sake. We can do anything. And I'm all in, and I just buckled down and I got my Q&D together.
Tell us about that. What did you do?
Well, I had already opened a Poshmark account before that, actually during COVID. Part of it was to bring in income because I wasn't working. And part of it was because I had so much stuff, and my daughter had so much stuff, and my father had passed away, and my stepmom was bringing me all this stuff. And so I just kind of buckled down or doubled down on that. And I had gone through my drawers during one of the episodes in the program, one of the videos in the program where you're kind of searching your home for treasure. And I found money everywhere. I literally found euros here and American dollars there and coins and cash. And I sold whatever. I still have the Canadian dollars because I don't know, they're going to be worth like $4 one day. So I'm getting up to those. I did that and I cut back on a lot of things. I found that, even though the idea was to generate new income, I had kind of, again, played my own rules a little bit, that I thought, instead of generating income, if I don't spend anything, whatever I normally would spend. So for about a month, maybe 2 months, I didn't buy any groceries. I bought milk and bananas and eggs, and that was it. Everything else was in the freezer. Everything else was in the cupboards. Everything else was what we had. And I'm not going to say I'm a good cook, but I can take what's in anyone's fridge and I can make it taste really good.
Can I send you what's in my pantry and
Yeah.
you make me a
Yeah.
recipe? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I need your help. That's a skill, Sylvia. That's a
It is.
skill.
It is a skill.
How smart too. That must have felt so good to actually clear that stuff out.
Yes, it really did. It was just mentally and physically, to just kind of clear everything out was good. And add to that, I think, having that debt go down. And
Yeah.
I mean, I emptied and filled my Q&D many times. And I know there's people in the group who are saying, oh no, I had to empty my Q&D, but that was the point. That was the point. It was to prove you can empty it, but you can fill it again. You can empty it, but you can fill it again. When you empty it again, you're back in phase one. So I think I did the 1-2 flip probably about 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was okay, because there was a reason for it. I knew I could do it. I knew I could refill it. And it wasn't rocket science. It was just, come on, manifest. And it was coming in. I was getting money from weird places and strange things happening. And that all went on to the debt, which was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, so let's flash forward now to when you're making that final payment on the last debt to get you to the zero in your spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that. What was that payment? What did you do? How'd you feel? Tell me all the things.
Well, it was funny, actually. I thought I would feel elated. Not that I wasn't upset or anything, but it was kind of like, oh, all right. So now what? Right? I bought this furnace 12 years ago, and we didn't have the money at the time. I have a fund in my savings just in case I need a new furnace. It's getting put a little bit in everyone. And the furnace was like $7,000 for a brand new furnace and air conditioner. But it was only going to be $100 a month. And there was a $50 management fee. They didn't say that it's going to repeat. They just said $50 management. So I ended up spending about $19,000 on a furnace.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know why I waited till the end on that one. I think it's because the whole process with that particular company is they don't send you anything. When you first sign up, they send you something saying, there you go. We're never going to, and they say, we're never going to send you anything. And they don't. So if you lose their email address, or you lose the account number, or you whatever, and then it's a process. You don't get to call someone. You have to go through this whole rigmarole. And anyway, it felt great to be done with it. It was like, oh, f you, Mr. Furnace. But I didn't feel elated. I just kind of felt like I got to exhale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the big thing. I got to exhale. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that now as well. I sleep. Well, I'm middle-aged. I sleep when I sleep, but I don't wake up in a panic about money. It's such an interesting feeling. It's been a long, long time since I felt that way, but it's such a great feeling. And paying off that last debt. And really, it was probably about 3 weeks later, looking at my credit score, where I could see, okay, that's zero now. Because there's a little bit of a time lag, which I wasn't happy about. It should be immediate, but there was a time lag. And so, I keep checking it now because look at it's still closed. Still going, still zero. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
So did you do something to celebrate?
I did. I got a fireplace insert.
Oh, that's cool. Was that
Yeah.
something that you wanted? It was on your wish list for a while?
It was on my wish list forever. I had a wood burning fireplace that I loved, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of cleaning. So for the last 10 years, I never used it. But to buy an insert for this particular one was going to be super expensive, because my door, it's the original from the house. And so the doors are arched, and I think they're brass, and they're beautiful. And I didn't want to remove those. And it was going to be like $2,000 just for the fireplace. And I thought, forget that. And then I actually I went to one of those clearance places, and I stumbled upon a $900 log set for $400 that they had for $200. And I have a friend who is a gas guy, and he came and installed it.
I need a gas guy. Oh wait,
right?
I'm married to one. I'm married to a very gassy guy.
Oh.
But think that's brilliant because like what a gorgeous splurge for hardly
Yeah.
any dollars, which also feels good.
How do you
No.
feel now every time you sit in front of that fire and you're warming your footsies?
Oh, that thing. It's the world's greatest invention. I should have done that instead of buying the furnace. But it's, I mean, first thing in the morning, I sit down with my coffee, I turn it on, I sit there, and that's like me time. And I just sit there and breathe. And then at night, I sit there. That's all I do.
Oh, I
You don't
love
need Netflix. You got a fireplace.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
that
pretty
so
excellent.
much.
What do your finances look like now? So you are solidly in phase 3. What do they look like now for you?
Because I don't have debt, whatever I've earned, I've got my buffer in the bank. So I've got like a float basically because I'm self-employed. So I've got my float in the bank, which will carry me for 6 months. I've also bought myself some new clothes, not a lot, but just I kind of wore out some things, so I need to replace them. But it's just, again, it's looking at the net worth and seeing the net worth improving and increasing. Because as you know, during the program, it was going up and down because I'd have to pay bills and I wasn't putting as much on, or, you know, my net worth was this, but then that went to mortgage payment or whatever. But now just seeing it going up and up, it's such a good feeling.
I want to encourage you on one little thing that you said moments ago. And I'm so
Yes.
sorry that I'm jumping in at this podcast at the very end and like inserting myself into your beautiful
That's okay.
conversation. But one of the things you said when you were talking about the fireplace, you were like, I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on sale. And I want to just encourage you right there. I really love this mentality because I also love buying things for a bargain, and I love buying luxurious things for a bargain. However, we have to be really careful that we don't only do things if they're cheap. So now that you're in phase 3, as I'm telling Carrie, this is like your wealthy era. Yes, we do want to have a deal, but if there is something that you really want that's on your heart, you do deserve it
Yes.
at full price also. So maybe not today and maybe not this year or next year, because we really want to get you solidly into phase 3, where it's like you're so far into phase 3, there's no chance you're ever going to end up in phase 2, right? There's like this little dance you're going to do for the next year where it's like these old patterns are going to creep up. You're going to have to catch yourself, choose something new, and then condition that new pattern over and over again. And that's going to keep happening for a little while. But eventually we want to make sure that we're not only ever looking for a bargain. 95% of the time we want that bargain because we want to increase that net worth. But once in a while, it's going to be okay for you. And I only say that not even necessarily for you, but for everybody that's in phase 3, because sometimes we think, oh, because I've lost all this time, because I've been paying debt for so long, I don't deserve to have anything new, right? That's phase 2 conditioning. So just
Yes.
remember that sometimes part of expansion and abundance is reaching for something that's outside of what you would have normally done and fully enjoying it to its full capacity, even if the price is slightly larger. So anyway, that's my unsolicited advice you didn't ask for.
No, that's good. That is good.
But you can't do that in phase, right? So when we're in phase 2, I see a lot of people who go, oh, I want the Chanel bag. And I'm like, wait, not now. Like,
Yeah.
now is
Yeah.
not the
Wait.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have goals that you're working on next?
Just doing things around my house, really. I've lived here a long time and there's a lot of improvements I want to make. During the process, one of my options was to sell my house and downsize, get the hell out of the city because my house is worth, you know, X amount of dollars. And, you know, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've decided it's going to be several years before I move.
Mhm.
So what I'd like to do is do all the projects to my house now, not right this second, but sooner rather than later, so that I can enjoy my house instead of just doing all the work for the next buyer.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
thinking I was just talking about. Genius.
See, genius.
Look at you.
So I have done, like, I will, okay, fine. I actually had a front porch made, a new front porch.
Mm.
My mom sits out there every day. Of course, now that it's winter, she's not there, but she sits out there every day. So I had a really nice front porch built with benches around the outside.
Mhm.
This is not cheap. But my buddy, he won't let me just do stuff. Oh, I can do that. So he and his friend built it for me, and I got a really good deal of it.
This has Carrie's rom-com vibes that Carrie loves so much. Like this friend that's handy that keeps coming over. Is he from the big city and he moved to a small town recently and like has a dog and a truck?
No, that's the guy that I married and got rid of. Yeah, no. I actually did. I bought him a truck and a dog, and then sent him on his merry way. Anyway.
Listen, Sylvia, we didn't do that for us, and that didn't happen to us. We collect these men, we make them better, and then we send them out into the world for other women. You know what I mean? We're doing other women a
They
service.
owe us.
Yeah, right. There should be back pay or something there.
I
That's
think
not a
so.
debt. I don't want to collect on that debt. That's okay. I've written that debt
No.
off. I'm over it.
Mhm. Okay, well, we're wrapping up. Erin, do you want to be here? Because now I'm about to ask her to say nice things about you.
Well, I will go anyway because I sort of barged in your conversation. I just wanted to see you and say hello and tell you how proud I am of you.
Aw,
I'm not
thank
only
you.
proud of you for what you did for yourself and for your daughters and for your mom and for everybody that's in your sphere and even all your clients. Like in a way, you're leading by example with a lot of people who are making a major financial decision in their life. And so you are exactly the type of realtor I would want to do business with if I was in your area.
Aw, thank
I
you.
think that's really important to know. But
Yeah.
I'm also proud of the way you step up for other people in the Get the Hell Out of Debt community. I know we had to beg you to come on the podcast because you're humble and shy, but we didn't even do it for us, even though we love spending time with you. We did it because you are like a little celebrity in the Get the Hell Out of Debt world because of how you
Oh,
show up so beautifully. Everybody that joins the program knows who you are within a week or two because of the way you welcome them into the Facebook community, the way you answer all the questions from a personal place of experience, not from a place of preaching or shame. And just the way you show up in caring and kindness, even when people make mistakes, you are absolutely loved and adored by Carrie and I. We talk about you even on the pod. I'm sure you know this because you are a
All
podcast
the
listener,
time.
but we talk about you all the time,
I
how
am.
much we love you. And so I'm just so grateful for your time today. This is like a gift for us and a gift for our community that you're sharing this. And I hope that your legacy, well, I know your legacy is going to be generations and generations because of how you walked this path so tremendously and continue to share it with other people. So I just wanted to thank you for that. You're exactly
Thank
who we
you.
hope joins the Get the Hell Out of Debt program.
I did want to remind both of you that your vibe is what attracted the tribe. Like you guys, you ladies, it's because of you and your honesty and your sarcasm and your wit and your just being real. That's why there's so many amazing people in that group. And that's what makes it so special because there's a lot of groups on Facebook, but yours is truly special. It's a unique
Yeah,
place to be.
we don't let any in there, or if they
No.
sneak in, we kick them out. So there's that.
We
Anyway,
have
thank you
a
guys.
few.
We'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
We have had a few. There's been some. We've just managed to
Oh,
get rid of
yeah.
them. So that's good.
Mm.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do want you to share your advice if someone is listening to this and they're on the fence about joining the program or listening to the podcast or buying the book, whatever it might be that works for them. What would you tell them to encourage them to come and be part of this community?
We all do so many things for other people. And we also all go out there and buy things for ourselves. But by buying the program, becoming part of the group, reading the book, you're doing something for yourself, but you're also helping people around you. And for the price of a pair of nice jeans, you can figure this stuff out. And the bank is never going to tell you how to get out of debt. They're just not. They're just going to get you to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And that's why you're here in the first place. But being part of the group and hearing that other people are with you, we all have each other's back. I got your back. You got my back. That's the whole thing. We're a tribe together. And this is probably the biggest gift you could give yourself. It might take you a year, might take you 3 years, but to give yourself the gift of being able to sleep at night knowing you're out of debt, that's huge. That's huge.
What does Erin mean to you?
Oh, she's like my little sister. She's, you know what? She's just such a, she's too kind sometimes. I'd like to slap her, but she's just such a smart, kind person. And realistically, I've actually paid more for a pair of jeans than she charges for the course. She doesn't charge enough for the course, but she doesn't charge as much as other people might because she actually gives a shit. Like it's very interesting to be mentored by someone who cares. It's not about, oh, what can we sell you? It's about, no, I seriously care about you. And the same with you, Carrie. It's real. It's very real. And it's that personality and that concern and care. She manifests these people around her. And it's because she's sending out great vibes because she really cares. She's been there. She's done that. And she knows how it feels. And that's so different from the preachers out there. I like that she's not yelling at us, because there's a couple people out there who like to yell at people. If I wanted to get yelled at, I'd go down the Danforth in the Greek community where they all say hello really loudly. Like, no, she just has a way of approaching it that is calm and comforting. And that's what makes her so different from everyone else. And sarcastic. She's sarcastic too, but that's always good.
Yeah, I don't know what we would do without that sarcasm. I feel
Right?
like that's one of her MOs for sure. And all of ours too. I think that's why we get along so well with you too, Sylvia, is that we have the same sense of humor, which I just love. You
We
are
have that
hilarious.
edge.
Not to mention the mouth where we have to bleep the swear words. Also,
Right?
okay, well, thank you so much for this. We can't wait to see what you do next.
Well, you're going
And
to probably see me at Transformation Weekend.
you're
So,
going to come. So tell me, you've never
yeah.
been, right?
I was at the Zoom one, but I've never
Okay.
been to the real one.
How was the Zoom one? What did you learn that weekend?
It was really good. It really just it reinforced so many things that the program taught, but it also made me realize the important thing. I mean, when we put our books together with the photos of the people and the things that are important to us, it was a real eye opener, because you kind of, it's easy to buckle down, you get in this get out of debt mode, but you forget why you're doing it. We could all get run over tomorrow, so why are we saving all this money? Because what we do affects so many people around us. So having that in the book was huge, and understanding about personal time and meditating and breathing and just allowing yourself to be in the moment, whether it's good or bad. That was a huge lesson I learned in that.
So you're coming to Transformation Weekend, and I'm
Yes.
so excited to actually see you in person. This is going to be incredible. Tell me what you're hoping to get out of the weekend.
Great food. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I would like to know more about investing. I have been investing. I
Yeah.
have been, I'm plugging away, and it's like, every couple of days I go, I'm going to buy $100 worth of that. It's kind of fun, even if it's just one stock or one bond or an ETF. I'd like to know more about it. I posted a question today in the group about something I don't really understand at all, and I'm hoping that people will answer it. And just more information, just a little bit more in depth as to how to best send things out there in the world for your investing and how do you bring it back again? I mean, I'm going to be retiring in the next few years. I'm much further advanced in age than many of the people in the group. So even though we should all be doing this, my lesson should be a little bit different because I'm a little closer to the edge. But I'd like to learn more about that. And I just really, I think I just want to see the people. I want to see the people.
We can't wait to see you.
She's coming to Transformation Weekend. I get to hug her in person.
Right? That's what I said too. Can't wait to actually see her. I mean, here's the thing is that I think I didn't even know that we hadn't seen each other in person, because I feel like we followed her through this journey, and she's one of the ones since I've been working with you and Get the Hell Out of Debt that I've seen come into the program and then watch her all the way through. So I feel like she's my little baby. She's my baby Sylvia.
And to me, she's a celebrity. She's a celebrity to Get the Hell Out of Debt world because of how brilliant she is. I'm gonna have to pick out a new outfit. I was just planning on wearing my regular clothes to Transformation Weekend. I'm gonna meet Sylvia. We gotta take selfies. It's gonna be a thing. So excited.